Hi, and welcome to the Thrive Alcohol Free podcast. I'm Dupe Witherick, alcohol free wellbeing and transformational coach, and the best selling author of A Cocktail of Clarity, How to Ditch Drinking, Embody a Joyful New Identity, and Thrive Alcohol Free. This podcast will show you that being alcohol free is not what the traditional narrative says. And even though alcohol is so ingrained in our society that it is okay to give yourself permission to stop drinking if you want to. And you do not have to wait until you hit rock bottom. It is certainly not boring, and I believe ditching drinking is just the start to living an extraordinary life. By getting rid of this one thing, it allows the doors to open to endless possibilities and opportunities. Each week, we will have guests on who are at various stages of the alcohol-free journey, from those who are curious to those who have been alcohol-free for years. We will also have experts on talking about different topics relating to alcohol and beyond. Through these conversations, you will discover what it means to thrive alcohol-free. Enjoy. Hi, and welcome to the latest episode of the Thrive Alcohol Free podcast. I am delighted that you are here listening, and I hope you've had a fabulous week. So it was my birthday yesterday, and gosh, I turned 45. I can't quite believe I am 45 years old, but it's amazing. I don't feel 45, and I just love every age. I'm very grateful for every year that comes, and I think we should be grateful for each year and always reflect on where we are and where we've come. I was reflecting actually, I was running yesterday and I reflected on the year, and the year has just been incredible. And I wonder, it was certainly wasn't the year I think that I expected. And it shows how much can happen a year and how much can happen in 5 years. And so I'm very grateful for it. This time last year, I wasn't expecting to. I think I'd wanted it for quite a few years. So I'll backtrack. I did. I think for the past couple of years before that, prior to that, I had been thinking how amazing it would be to work from anywhere, travel the world, see a bit of the world. And I've also always worked and traveled, but I think it's more the being your own boss and having the freedom to do it. And so becoming a digital nomad at the end of last year was just yeah, a dream. And we've mainly been in Marrakesh, but it's been just amazing living somewhere different, working somewhere different, and being able to have quite a different lifestyle and see different cultures. So we had a lovely day actually, just going to Bahia Palace, and then we went to Jamal Al Fanar and wandered around. I had some ice cream from my favorite ice cream place, Sweet and Souk, and it was just a lovely, had a nice meal, some cake, and it was just a lovely, lovely day. And so extremely grateful for all the opportunities and hitting another milestone birthday. It's really odd because 5 years ago, for my 40th, I was still drinking. And I just can't believe that. I remember it was COVID, and so we had big plans. I was meant to go to New York for my 40th with a load of friends, and that obviously didn't happen because we were in lockdown. But I remember all my friends sending flowers, bottles of champagne, and that was the life. That was my sort of thing to celebrate. You know, drinking was a big part of my life and celebration. You know, champagne was celebrating. And I remember going through COVID and just being a bit annoyed that my 40th had been cancelled and that we were locked down. But what I didn't appreciate was that having that time and space and not being able to do what we normally did, and was probably just working in the background in terms of the what next. And my mind was probably beginning to think differently and question things a bit more. And everyone's went through that experience, and it was horrendous for so many people. But I wonder how many of us it actually helped us just do a bit of a reset. And that's certainly what I'm grateful for, because by the time November came 2020, if we had carried on, I just wonder if COVID hadn't have happened, I wonder whether I would be doing this, whether I'd be here talking to you, or would have written my book, A Cocktail of Clarity, or in fact, if I would just be still in the corporate world, climbing the ladder, not really have given it any thought. It's interesting. It's amazing what can happen in a year. It's amazing what can happen in 5 years, 10 years. And we have a choice over that. We can choose whatever we're not changing, we're choosing. And that sounds a bit harsh, but we have choice. And no matter how hard it might seem, or how unrealistic, or how it's not possible it might seem, anything is possible. And I don't know if you heard the episode last week, but it's all about the subconscious mind and reprogramming our subconscious mind. And I think that we're capable of anything. We're capable of creating any life we want to create, and just making a decision. To decide in Latin basically means to cut off all other options. If you make a decision that you're going to do something and you really believe that that's the right decision for you, then you can go after it, you can get it. You may need support, you may need to invest in yourself, you may need to get some new skills, new capability, you may need to work with a coach or a mentor, you may need to do something to make it work. You obviously have to take some steps as well, intuitive steps, things that you know to do. But it will happen. It might not be in your timeline, it might not be in the exact way that you'd like, but whatever it is, that big dream that you want, you can absolutely get it, and it's absolutely yours. And so, as I said, I'm grateful for another year. I'm grateful for you, the listener, and for all the people I've worked with over the past year who have helped me stay in this path and really help me thrive. And I'm looking forward to continuing to thrive at 45 in 2025. No, that was all very cheesy, but thank you so much. And yeah, just really grateful that I've hit another milestone birthday, 45, and look forward to let's see what happens in this coming year. And if you have a birthday coming up, I'd love to hear, let me know, and I can celebrate with you. And I think birthdays, they can come and go, and you can just sort of let them pass you by. But acknowledging them, thanking, giving thanks for your body, your health for another year is really important. And so just be grateful today. I'd love you to think about 2 or 3 things that you're grateful for, because when you think and focus on gratitude, your day changes, and you also realize that you're capable of so much and that everything is working for you. So I hope that's helped you today. This week, we are celebrating 2 years of my book, A Cocktail of Clarity: How to Ditch Drinking, Embody a Joyful New Identity, and Thrive Alcohol-Free. Cocktail of Clarity has been out for 2 years. It was published 2 years ago, and I just thought I would talk about it a little bit because it's been a while since I've spoken about it, and it's such a good book. I really felt that it was on my heart to write this book because when I stopped drinking, I took a 21-day break from drinking, as you might know if you've been listening for a while. And during that 21 days, a few things happened, but there was no real reason for me to stop drinking for any longer. I thought I'd do the 21 days and then I would see what happened and maybe moderate or drink a bit less or do something a bit different. And what pursued was I did the 21 days and then I kept going. And one of the first quit that I read was The Unexpected Joy of Being Sober by Catherine Gray, and it was incredible. And then I got hooked. I started reading all the quit lit that was out there. So we've had a couple of the authors on as well. But I read so many quit lit books. But what I found was that a lot of them, the majority of them, related to people who had maybe hit rock bottom or didn't really have a choice. They needed to stop, or it was time for them to stop. And I wanted to give the message that it didn't really matter how much you were drinking. You didn't need to wait until rock bottom. You could give yourself permission to stop drinking today. Whenever you decide that alcohol's not no longer serving you, or that life could be better without alcohol in some way, be that spiritually, mentally, emotionally, or physically, then why not take a break from alcohol? So I wrote my book, Cocktail of Clarity, as a practical guide to really inspire you to take action along the way as well. So at the end of each chapter, I've got the book here, so that's why I keep looking down. At the end of each chapter, there are journal prompts and there is an action for you to take, and then there's a cocktail of clarity concept. And during the chapters, there are lots of practical guides and tools and tips and recipes, and it takes you on a journey from foundations to first to freedom. And so in the foundation section, we're really talking about whether or not alcohol is serving you, what is alcohol, what it isn't, the truth about it. We talk about the other side of fear and everything you want being on the other side of fear, and how you can really design the life that you want as well. And it's all about identity. And then we go on to the fact that you are only gaining, not giving anything up when you ditch drinking. And it really talks about creating your own alcohol-free toolkit as well, and what that could look like for you, which would be really beneficial for you. And then we move into firsts, where we think about how do we navigate those alcohol-free firsts. And so I covered a lot of different potential firsts that you might find that you end up having to manage. And then also, how do you navigate those relationships? If someone is still drinking, like if your partner's still drinking, what do you do? How does that work? But it's not about them, it's about you, and you'll learn that in the book. And then we talk about finding your passions. Now that you have all this time on your hands when you stop drinking, have you lost your passion? And if so, how do you find it? And for me, that was really important, because I think I felt I'd lost my passion as well. And the interesting thing is, we tend to use alcohol to numb out negative emotions. What we don't realize, it's also numbing out the positive emotions. And things we enjoy doing, we might not remember we enjoy doing them. So that's another chapter. And then we talk about building healthier habits. So the chapter is there are 1,440 minutes in a day. And so it's really what are you doing with that time and how are you making the most of it? And as I said, there's lots in this book. Yeah, it's got loads of information that I know will be really helpful for you if you are looking to take a break from alcohol, if you're curious about taking a break from alcohol, or if you're already on the journey and you're feeling a bit stuck, you're feeling a bit like, what's the next chapter? What's the next thing I should be doing? And then we move into freedom, which is all about finding lasting joy in all areas of your life. And that talks about what are your values, what are your core values, how do you embrace emotions, how do you really manage emotions? Because what you'll find is those emotions come thick and fast, and you may not be used to dealing with emotions. And so how do you do that? And then we talk about goal setting. Where are you now? Where do you want to be? And then how do you create that dreamiest life that you want to create, and what does that look like? So that is a cocktail of clarity. It's award-winning, and it was also an international bestseller. It hit #1 in a few of its categories in the US. I think it hit #2 in the UK and #4 in Canada. And so, yeah, I'm really proud of the book. I can't believe it's been 2 years since it was published. The book was published on 29th of April 2023, but the year before, 29th of April 2022, was quite different, as I had ended up being rushed to hospital, even though I felt like I was the fittest I had been for a long time. And I'd just done the half marathon earlier in the month, my first half marathon. I did the London Landmarks half marathon. We went on our first abroad alcohol-free, for me, holiday in the Dominican Republic, and I think we celebrated my mum's 70th birthday, and there was lots lots of good things happening. I also had completed my training for alcohol-free wellbeing coaching, and so there'd been lots of things going on, and I felt fine, really. But then that week, I just didn't feel that great. On the Friday, I ended up being told I needed to go to hospital when I went to see the doctor. And yeah, it was a very different time. And I think at the time I wasn't really expecting what would happen next, which was I was diagnosed with something and I was on lots of medication, but it meant that I was going back and forth to hospital every week. And that was a bit of a shock to the system, getting bloods taken and being on this different medications. And I remember not sleeping very well. And during that time, I had qualified as a transformational coach in 2021. And I, as I said, I'd done the alcohol-free well-being um, coaching. And I had been thinking about how did I incorporate that and how did I do more of the coaching because that's something I wanted to do, but I was in the corporate world at the time as well. And so that was something that I knew in my heart I wanted to do more long term, but didn't have much of a plan. And one of the nights when I wasn't sleeping very well and I wasn't feeling great, I remember it was probably about 2 in the morning, and this download came to me of Thrive Alcohol Free. And I just had this really clear vision of what it looked like, what I wanted to do with it. And anyway, fast forward a year, thank God my health got a lot better, even though it took quite a few months to sort of get back to normal. But yeah, then it really just inspired me. I thought, well, what would I like to do? What would I like to really do? What did I really want? And I think we don't ask ourselves the question very often because we think it's impossible or we can't do it. We wonder whether or not we can actually do what we really want. But one of the things I ask my clients is if you could do anything, there was no repercussion, there was nothing, and it was going to be a yes, what would you do? And so I'm asking you that question today. What would you do? And what do you want? What do you really want? And I think a lot of us struggle to actually articulate what we want, or we're too afraid to say what we really want. So I'd love it if today you could write down what you want. What is it that you truly want in life? And you're allowed to have it. And actually, the fact that it's on your heart, the fact it's a desire of yours, means it's already done. It's going to happen. And so you just need to believe that that's the right thing for you and start taking action towards it. And so one of the things that came to me was Thrive Alcohol Free. And I knew that was going to be the name of my company. I knew that was going to be, and then I had all these things I wanted to do, including writing a book. And then May the 9th, 2023 was my first post on Instagram I set up a new account at Thrive Alcohol Free and posted my first post. I might have posted a couple of posts on that day. And it was 18 months of me being alcohol free. So that's how I started my Thrive Thrive Alcohol Free journey. And then since then, the book then came out a year later, and the podcast was created. I've been coaching women and providing free material to people all over the world. And I am just really grateful that I get to make a bit of a difference to people and just change the narrative a bit in terms of not having to wait until you hit rock bottom to take a break. And being alcohol free is a superpower, and the number of opportunities that come your way when you decide to take that break from alcohol is incredible. And so I keep shouting it from the rooftops, and I think this book really brings it to life. I've also got an online course, which is this book with actual guides and journal prompts and other things on top of that. Obviously, there are videos, and it's about 3.5 hours. So if you want to experience the online course as well, that is available. But I have to say, one of the game changers for me was really then discovering human design as well. So human design doesn't feature in this book because it was released in 2023, as I said, in April. But since then, I've discovered human design. And so I really believe that actually your human design reveals a lot about your alcohol journey and your alcohol-free journey as well. The reasons why you might not have stopped drinking or wanted to stop drinking, the fears that might be behind it, etc. And so I've created a quiz which I would love you to take. And it basically is looking at your human design and your alcohol-free habits. And so It's what does human design reveal about your human design type reveal about your alcohol-free journey. So it's a free quiz. I'd love you to take it, and it will reveal stuff. And if you have done your human design already, you might find it's slightly different. The result that comes out isn't your actual human design. And I think that's the whole point. Human design is a self-awareness deconditioning tool, ultimately. And we have been conditioned by society, by our friends, by the environment that we've been in, by so many things over the years that we may not even realize that we're not living in the truest sense that we should be living, and we're certainly not living our human design. And so what's fascinating is a lot of people have taken this quiz have come back to me and said, well, it's interesting because I'm not that when you actually do my human design type. And that is pretty much the point. So what are the things that you may have been conditioned on? What are the fears that might be holding you back? Where are you living in your shadows versus your strengths? These are all the things that can come out once you've actually done that quiz and then actually taken a free chart, gone to my website, thrivealcoholfree.com/human design and got your free chart to see what you actually are. And you may find that you're quite curious about human design and you want to explore it a bit more. So I've created aligned and alcohol-free. I've extended my 21-day challenge, which now blends becoming alcohol-free and human design. And it's the first of its kind. It doesn't exist anywhere else. I haven't seen it anywhere else. And so in aligned and alcohol-free, you'll get the daily inspirational emails as always, which really takes you on, on your 21-day journey. So you actually enjoy being alcohol-free and for those 21 days, and you can really experiment and explore it and see in a really safe, non-judgmental environment. And then we have our group coaching sessions, which we have weekly. So they're 4 group coaching sessions. And in those group coaching sessions, we'll have Q&A and hot seat coaching for whatever's coming up for you in the group, but we'll also delve into human design and we'll talk about how the types are impacted, how your authority impacts becoming on this journey, how your definition really, whether or not it would be helpful for you to stop drinking within a community, within a group, or on your own. And then we'll be focusing on the splenic center, which is a lot of the fears. So the 7 fears that exist, and then which ones are yours, and then how do we get out of those fears? Because some of those fears may have actually been what's causing you to drink or what's stopping you from taking that break. And so it's a really, really amazing challenge, 21-day challenge, which blends being alcohol-free and human design. And I know it's going to be an incredible journey for the women and men who decide to take it. Human design, I think, is a really important aspect of what I do, and it is game changing for people. So if you are interested in exploring that, then feel free to join Aligned and Alcohol Free 21-day challenge. It starts on the 5th of May. And for me, when I discovered my human design, it just really validated a lot of the things that I thought. It made me really appreciate how I could move through life with the least resistance and what I could do and how best to make decisions. And it just gave me a completely different insight. And it was also a great thing to really hear your strengths because, as I said, we live in our shadows a lot, or we don't actually see our strengths. And so when you go through a human design session, for example, one-to-one session or work with me in my one-to-one coaching packages, then you really understand who you are and what your strengths are. And a lot of it isn't going to be new to you, but it's going to maybe reiterate where you are and where you could be going and how to live your best life. And so if human design is something that you're interested in, as I said, head to thrivealcoholfree/human design or head to 21-day challenge, thrivealcoholfree.com/21-day challenge. Join the challenge or do one of the one-to-one human design sessions, or you can do the one-to-one coaching. And we have 30 days to erase, which is the 1-month intensive, or you can do 3, 6, or 12-month packages with me. And I'm excited to work with you and help you explore your human design. And then I wanted to just give you a final opportunity because we have a couple of spots left on the Finding Freedom retreat, and that is happening in Bali in just over a month. It's so exciting. The 5th to 12th of June 2025 is the Finding Freedom retreat, and as I said, not many spots left, but I would love it if you want to join. I don't want you to miss out on this opportunity. It's going to be the most epic experience, and I really believe it's something that you'll just remember for life, that's going to completely give you a different perspective. We'll come back changed, all of us. We will be doing daily coaching. We will be doing daily yoga. We also have daily women's circles. We have various excursions. Where I've curated it is that we have various activities and excursions that are really going to take you on a journey as we go through the week. And time is going to be collapsed. It's only 7 nights, but we're going to cover so much, and you're going to go through so much, and you will come out the other side just changed, and it's going to set you up for the next 6 months, for the next year, for your life. You will understand yourself better. You will be in an environment that I think is magic. I spent a month in Bali last year, and it was life changing. It really just gave me a completely different perspective, and helped me know exactly which direction we wanted to go in. And so Finding Freedom Retreat, as I said, there are only a couple of spots left now, and we're getting close to the time. So if that's something that you're interested in, then get in touch. And I know it's going to be incredible for you. And I can't wait to see you in Bali and give you the biggest hug. Okay, so what else do we want to cover? I had Sarah Tracy on the podcast a couple of weeks ago, and she is the creator of the virtual speaker series, which is Sobriety is the New Epic. And I'll be speaking on Friday at Sobriety is the New Epic. And Janet Guron will be the other speaker on that day. And Janet's been on the podcast before, so she's talking about how life begins at 63, basically. She stopped drinking at 63, and it's what she's done since. And she's made such a huge impact in this alcohol-free movement space. And then I'll be talking about, now you've ditched drinking, now what? And I'd love you to join and listen to that. So if that's something that's of interest, then feel free to get your free ticket. It's coming to an end. It's been 2 weeks of lots of speakers. And so if that's something you're interested in, I would definitely go and listen to what's left of that. Okay, I think that's all I had today. I'm excited for the guests that are going to be on the podcast soon. We've got some really good guests coming on, but I've enjoyed doing some solo episodes, and I think it's important for me to just speak to you as well and not just have guests on all the time. And so I hope you found the episodes helpful. I do want to leave you with this one thing. What is it that you truly want? And if you knew the answer was going to be yes, what would it be? And if you want to share that with me and you don't want to share it with anybody else, then I'm happy to hear. You can DM me at Thrive Alcohol Free, or you can send me an email. And I would really urge you to do that, or tell someone your goal, because when you say your goal out loud or write it down and write it down, it's more likely that you'll actually achieve that. And of course, if you'd like support on that journey through coaching and mentoring, then I am more than happy to help you look at how you become that, what identity you need to hold, what behaviors, what habits, etc. And we can go on the journey together and work together. And I know you will achieve whatever goal that you've set. So I hope that's helped. And I hope you believe in yourself and you know how worthy you are to achieve anything you want and to do whatever you want to do. If that is stopping drinking, if that is taking a longer break, if that's continuing on your alcohol-free journey, if that's going on a retreat, you are worthy. And you can do anything you want to do, and I believe in you. And I'm here if you want. And I look forward to speaking to you on the next episode. Okay, well, have the most fabulous week, and I will see you on the next one. Take care. Bye. Thank you so much for listening to the Thrive Alcohol Free podcast. If you enjoyed the episode, please subscribe so you get alerted every time I drop a new episode. I'd love it if you could rate, review, and share this episode. Feel free to tag me on Instagram at Thrive Alcohol Free and follow me for daily tips. If you would like to work with me, I offer one-to-one coaching sessions and have my group coaching program. If you're not yet ready for coaching, I also have a self-paced online course, which is a companion to my book, A Cocktail of Clarity. All the links are in the show notes. I will see you in the next episode. Have a wonderful week. Take care.